to Alex. The issue, though, of migration, and you're referring this to this as a global megatrend. Explain this to me, how this global megatrend is affecting South Africa.
So when listening to some of the grievances that the community members at Alexandra Township had cited around new people that are building new shacks and so on in areas where they're not allocated or zoned to do so, it speaks to this global megatrend that is happening around the world, where already the question of urbanization and migration is happening at a rapid rate. Already in China alone, 1.2 million people move from rural areas to urban city centers as a consequence of that. But it also speaks to a second trend around demography in South Africa, but also in the African continent compared to other developed markets, where we're seeing that in Europe, in the Americas, and in Asia, fertility rates are actually in decline, where, for instance, in the US, fertility rates were around 2.5% in the 70s growth fertility rates. In the next decade, they'll be at 0.5%. In China, because of the one-child, one-family policy, they're actually in the negatives of that, and it's also a key consideration with regards to this trade war between the US and China, where it was forecasted that by 2050 China would be the biggest economy in the world. But because of the question of demography, that's no longer going to be the case. And so we're seeing that these global megatrends are not just happening at a global level, but even locally, we're seeing these trends happening, where even in Gauteng, over 300,000 people move from other provinces into the Gauteng province annually. We've seen the sort of pressures that adds into schools, public education system, and the availability of schools and new learners. We've seen the pressures that this has added with regards to the provision of basic services and infrastructure. We know the M2 freeway as well is also currently being renovated as a consequence of that. So there's significant pressures that is being added onto city centers across the globe as a consequence of that. And so